ain't your crap boss have radios. Grab your rig, hit the trail, mine set on fire. Bugs on the air, activating the wire. Summits on the air, string CQ. Portable power, no shack, just me and you. Experiment wild, break the old rules. Contesting pileups, we're running the fools. No age limit, here it's a state of mind. Kids table rebels leave a boring behind. Heavy signals crashing down. CQ, own the town, born a soda contest roar. Ham radio kids table, forevermore. People bait, waves in the fight. This is our revolution, turn it up tonight. Kids table, hell yeah. Not your grandpa's wheel of future on the air. Kids table, out.
Good. What?
In.
Out.
In.
Out.
In and out.
Without.
There we go.
Good after evening noon, y'all.
God, you'd think we were professionals or something. My golly. Hey, well, good after evening noon, everybody. Welcome to the Ham Radio Kids Table. It is Wednesday night, and we are here to, well, I don't know what we're here to do. We're here to talk about something, and tonight, hopefully, is going to be a doozy. We've got Salty Walt, and I saw a video that he put up about 10 days ago, and he was pretty salty. And I think a lot of it had to do with, and I have to agree with it. We have, I think, a lot of gatekeeping, and just I don't know all the right words, but there's not enough experimentation, not enough people just getting out and doing it. There's a whole lot of telling people how to enjoy this hobby. And I think Walt struck not a nerve with me, but he struck a chord, and I definitely wanted to get him in here to kind of talk about that, because as we go into the summer, this is ideal time for us to be out enjoying the hobby outdoors, experimenting and having fun. And I want people to be able to enjoy the hobby. So Walt, good evening.
Hey, Tim. Hey, guys. Good to be here. Yeah, it was crazy. You know what? I told myself I'm going to quit doing those salty videos where I'm just kind of like, on a rant. But it never fails. Even, listen, I'm by no means an expert. I like to study and learn, and we're all learning, and we're all, every day, you learn something new. But occasionally, what really stoked that video was I've got two books, and these books are meant to be fun. I started my career in engineering as a draftsman 46 years ago, and back in the old days before we had CAD and all that, I was a drafter on the board, drawing. And so I got two books out, as many people may know. And in the books, there's, the whole idea of the book is to, a little bit of talk, but then, I sketched it up. If you look at a little graph paper and how to build it. And it's just, if nothing else, I say in the book, this book is meant to inspire you. I even say in the book, listen, not a lot of science here, a little bit of theory, just kind of give you an idea of what it's really all about. Do this, throw up a wire, experiment. And I even say in the book, this is not the ultimate Mozart of classical music of antenna books. This is the Jimmy Buffett of antenna books. It's like, throw a wire in the ear. I say that, whatever. So leading up to this email I get from this guy, and the guy, I could, I could tell he's like going through the book. He goes, and then like on page 5, you said this, and page 87, you said this. I just don't understand this. I want you to, can you expand upon this and explain this to me? And he's just going off, and he's playing dumb. But I tell you what was dumb is that he signed it at the end, whatever his name was. I can't remember now. Jeff. Kilo 9 XYZ or whatever it was, right? So I go look him up, and the guy's got a doctorate in electrical engineering, a PhD, with a specialist in electromagnetic, studies. And I'm like, all right, I get it now. You know what I mean? The guy's he's trying to pick. You could tell he's picking the book apart, but he was passive aggressive. He was doing the pack it in a compliment sandwich. You know what I mean? Like, hey, great book. You're a dummy. You know what I mean? And great book, whatever. Sorry about
Yeah.
that. So this way his email was going, and I read it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm at a point now. I'm not even going to respond. I'm just let it go. But a couple days go by, and I was like, and then I see other people like on a Facebook group or something asking a question, and I see these guys like they always do. I've been a ham for 43 years. You don't know what you're talking about. Get out of here. Da 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 da. So it kind of inspired me to do that because I remember when I years ago when I first really got into the hobby. You would ask the question, and you could go right now. You go to Facebook and look on any Facebook antenna group. It won't take long. 2 or 3 post in, there'll be somebody asking a question, and it'll be just mountains and mountains of respond, and no one's answering him. You know what I mean? They're ridiculing the guy or whatever, and they're doing it. And this is a really, really bad thing, in my opinion. Of course, we all know Facebook is. It's not just ham radio; it's everything. But you would think that in a hobby like ours, where we're studied and learned, and we're trying to do what we're doing in this hobby, that we could do it with we're at the kids' table. You could do it with kids' gloves, maybe. People say things or whatever, and they just don't know. And it bothered me because I see these new guys getting picked on by guys that were probably a new guy 3 years ago. Now they think they're an expert. And here I am. Here I am. I've written 2 books that are published and reviewed by other people. I didn't just write it, and they didn't just blindly publish it. They reviewed my books. The editor came to me and goes, "Hey, Walt, you might want to double check that or whatever." But here I got 2 books published, and I've been, pretty successful YouTube channel, a little over 60,000 subscribers. It's taken off. Even and like I said, I'm not an expert, but I got a lot of experience. You can just go on the channel and see 400 videos of me actually doing, and I'm still putting up with it, from a guy with a PhD, whatever. And I thought to myself, that's this hobby has a huge gatekeeping problem, and it's kind of what inspired me to do that video. Now, it's the same way, and people say things, like I said, even the guy that's only been a ham for 2 or 3 years, I'll do a video I did yesterday. I tried to explain that someone on another YouTube show just like this, a live stream, said that the quarter wave vertical was a cloud burner, and that bothered me. And I'm like, oh, let me show you. And I went on the beach, built a quarter wave vertical, and talked about takeoff angle and showed them which direction my signal was going. And I sat on the beach yesterday morning and talked to 3 or 4 people in Australia on 20 meters. So, I like to do, and you see this, and just like anything else that we have in the social media world, that video, you probably go in there and look through the comments. Someone's saying, yeah, great antenna, but a NFET half wave is quieter. And I'm sitting there thinking, the whole idea of this was talk about takeoff angle, and it wasn't about which antenna was quiet or whatever. People don't just kind of like open their mind and listen and what's going on, you know what I mean? And it goes the other way too for some reason, there are a lot of people that have been in this hobby for a long time that have that one track focus. They're going to like, this is the best. This is how it's going to be. If you don't do it the way I do it, you're wrong. You know what I mean? It's just, there's a lot of that in the hobby. And it bothers me. It bothers me greatly. And every once in a while, I like to stand up to the bullies and say, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. And I say in that video, the most important people in this hobby are the new people. They are the most important people in our hobby, because if this thing doesn't grow, what are we doing? We're going to talk to the same guy every day. If we're like, I'm a DXer more than anything. I don't want to just get on there and talk to the same guy in Croatia every day. You know what I mean? I want to make bigger and better, whatever. So I think this hobby needs, some of us need to, look in the mirror and say, what am I doing here? I need to be kinder, gentler, and try to help instead of being, only do it the way I do it. Honestly, if you watch my videos, you don't have to do it the way I'm doing. It probably won't work for you. I'm sitting on top of the greatest ground plane in the world. I just kind of exploit that on my channel. build antennas and have fun. Now, the whole idea of my channel is to inspire people to go have fun. It's not to tell you to do it exactly like I'm doing it. So that's kind of I know I'm long-winded here and I apologize, but that's kind of the whole gist of why I did that video.
Right.
So I have a handful of comments already pinned up here. I can't pin them for Tim to bring up, but I can pin them for me. Rory's fully blaming Walt for my res antenna purchase in my next video. Hollywood says Walt's sketches remind me of a Forrest M. Mims book. Excellent stuff. Let's catch up here. Scott Hamtel Hurt says, however, don't conflate not spoon feeding someone unwilling to try with gatekeeping. Tell me what you have tried and let's work through it together.
Well, see, right there, I want to discuss that because there's a difference between mentoring and gatekeeping. Mentoring is a process, and yes, you have to ask questions. You need to challenge people to look at assumptions and dive in a little bit deeper and to do the research. That is how you learn. You retain information. If I were to give you every bit of information on a problem, most likely because you didn't have to work for that, you will forget it pretty easily. So there is, I think, a big difference between the gatekeeping and mentoring. What do you think, Walt?
I agree. I think I've learned my greatest lessons in life by making mistakes. I mean, and that's all I'm trying to say is get out there and make mistakes. You're going to learn from them and you're going to get better. I mean, the guy that's not willing to make a mistake, if you want to be spoon fed or you want to be mentored along and you have to have someone show you step by step how to do everything, yeah, you're going to learn over time, but you know what? You want to accelerate that learning. Go out there, watch a video or read the book or do whatever. Go out there and see if it works. If it doesn't work, then either it's wrong or you're doing something wrong. Keep going until you make it work.
Absolutely. And Cyber Radio, Rory, thank you for the $10 super chat. The hobby needs more mentorship. That is the pathway to ensure growth in the hobby. Sad habs don't even realize that they're hurting their own hobby. And I agree because, and you mentioned it, you look at Facebook, somebody asks a question and you'll get a couple honest responses and a whole lot of flack for asking questions. And that isn't going to be sustainable, unfortunately.
And I think we as YouTubers that are putting ourselves out there, I mean, myself, I've written 2 books. I mean, that we're throwing that out there. That responsibility is on us to keep people engaged and to keep people happy. You know what I mean? I try. You don't know how many times I bite my tongue when I get a comment. I'm like, I used to. I mean, it's the hardest lesson I've had to learn. I'm not an angel. I'm by no means, but the hardest lesson I've had to learn is sometimes is saying nothing is better than saying anything at all. And because you want to, like, I personally, I don't care if you like me or not, but I want to reflect to other people that I'm positive for this hobby and I want to encourage them to get out and do whatever they want to do. It's just like, take for instance, and I'm not trying to start a thing here. I am not an FT8 guy. It doesn't excite me. I just don't get it. But FT8's great for ham radio because there's a whole lot of people that have come into our hobby through FT8, and that's great. You know what I mean? And I say that heartfelt. I mean, eventually I'll probably give it a try. I don't know, when we get down to the bottom of the cycle and everything's horrible, maybe I'll get back to doing that, or I'll finally, get my CW speed up to where I get better at that. But I think that we as YouTubers, getting back to it, man, we need to encourage all the way around as well. And I think we have a responsibility if we're going to put ourselves out there, you know what I mean? And it's, once again, if we're going to encourage people, or I hate to use the word influence, but if you're going to be an influencer and influence people, saying earlier, I'm the reason they bought the res antenna, that at least go out there and use it and show it in action and show how it works and do it and be a positive force in the hobby.
Agreed.
Hey, Frank. Jeff, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I 100% agree with Walt. As YouTubers, I think we have, I wouldn't say an obligation, or a duty, but maybe we do, to at least show what we do and how we do it and the results. Like I've made like a few hundred videos. I don't know how many, 200 videos of me using ham sticks. They work. I just use those out of the ease of
Right.
throwing the mag mount on top of my SUV, putting the ham stick up there. It's pre-tuned already, and making contacts. I make contacts to Australia on a ham stick. I made contacts to South America, Europe, everywhere in the US on a ham stick. And people go, is ham sticks any good? It's Facebook is a cesspool of
Tell me about it.
stupidity, blind laziness, and anything else you want to call it. But people are generally asking questions, although they could probably reread some of the older posts on Facebook groups. But like, what intent?
Oh no, that involves effort.
I know. Or even, should I Google it myself? No, let me just ask someone else to Google it for me.
I know that's
well, they ask the same questions. It's like, what's the best antenna to use? What's the best radio? I mean, if you actually looked for it, like best radio or best antenna, I'm sure you're going to find 50 posts for each subject matter in like the POTA group on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, well, and getting back to what I said as YouTubers, the whole thing that spawned the video I did yesterday on the quarter wave vertical is, you know, a lot of guys get on here, and I know I've said things that are probably incorrect, not knowingly or trying to learn myself or whatever, but some people will just get it in their mind that something's a certain way and spew it on YouTube as well.
Oh yeah.
So I kind of want the new guy to know, like, don't not even me. Don't listen to everything I do. Go out there and do it. That's how you're gonna learn. Go do it.
There's a wide variety of gear out there: radio, antennas, mass, whatever, tuners. I hear on my local repeater a lot, get the G5RV. I'm like, and that's like the Bible for them. And I'm like, it's an antenna that works, but am I gonna go stick up a G5RV up at the freaking park? No, it takes too much effort and time for me.
There's a lid. There's a lid for every pot. I say that all the time. There's a lid for every pot.
I mean, if you ask anyone, like, what antenna should I use or what radio should I get, everyone's going to give them their opinion. Get this radio or get this antenna. I've actually listed like 10 to 20 antennas or radios replying to those posts just out of spite of everyone, because give them options. I mean, whatever the amount of money you have to spend, get the radio that you and the antenna that you could get, or make one. Buy the cheapest radio, buy a G90, go make your own antenna and fed half wave, or buy a kit or something, or go on someone's website and dealer and buy it from them. But anything's going to work. Any radio that puts out enough power to get out, and an antenna that radiates power for you to get out and then hear people back, will work.
Right.
But some people lose that. They're like, the G5RV, get the 891, do this. It's like they had the blinders on where it's like their opinion only. Mm-hmm. I've dealt with before with like so-called experts. I'm like, okay, you can help yourself. I'm going to hang up the phone now. They're like, no, I need your help.
You know what's sad though, and we're actually here talking about this as well. That this is a very small percentage of the hobby. The problem is this little small percentage, when they get in and open their mouth, they're louder than everybody else.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of why I was saying this. And it's really why I'm trying, like, if people, you guys know me and you can see me, I throw myself, I am who I am in my videos, whatever. 95% of the time, I'm a really positive guy. I'm like, yeah, let's go, whatever, positive person. But it's just that little small percentage is like, I really feel like there's like zero tolerance for it. You know what I mean? Because I have heard and seen, and you can go through a lot of my videos and read the comments, and people are like, I left ham radio. I quit ham radio. I haven't done anything in years. Your channel, your videos inspired me to like renew, come back, and get into this hobby. That's the greatest thing I've ever heard. And I hear a bit. I'm not bragging about it, but I'm saying is that's the way, not just me as a YouTuber, that's the way we all as hams should have people saying that about us. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, that's, I'm not, hopefully I haven't driven anybody off or upset anybody, or, encourage anybody to buy a bad product. But
from what I've heard, a lot of people do stop out of life changes.
Mhm.
They go to college, like they learn in high school, they go to college and they're busy drinking rather than getting on the air, or they start a family, they have kids, they start a job that requires like travel or something like that, and they don't get back into it just because they don't have I wouldn't say like the passion for it to keep going, despite like, okay, I can't do it like every day now, but I could do it
Yeah.
like on the weekends. They may not
Yeah.
think about that, but there are people, and I tell new hams when after they pass their exams when IVE is like, there are buttheads out there. The best thing to do is ignore them. Don't let them discourage you, especially like young kids and women. I was like, don't let anyone discourage you from getting on the air. There's other frequencies, other repeaters, other bands. Just go there and ignore them. They're just sad people.
Yeah.
Just keep playing with ham radio. You got the license for a reason. Don't
100%.
let a few bad apples spoil it for you. It's a great hobby, and it really does piss me off that people drive others away.
So real quick, do want to acknowledge we got Brian here tonight, Whiskey Quebec 0 Alpha, Overland Amateur Radio. And also Andrew, the Broke Ham, has joined the table.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
What's up?
Howdy.
And if you haven't noticed, I did a second poll. So there's a new poll that's up. How bad is ham radio gatekeeping right now? So I got the first poll. We'll talk about those here in a little bit. Vince, any thoughts on Walt's comments so far?
Can I use adult language here?
Go right ahead. It's after 8:00. Well, on the East Coast, at least.
There are assholes in every hobby.
Yeah.
And you can engage them and run up your blood pressure, or just say, have a nice day, and walk away from them.
That's
it's
fair.
that simple.
Yeah.
Wait
Really
till my
it
next
is.
video. Wait till my next video.
You know, you're going to run into people. It drives me absolutely bonkers on Reddit, amateur radio subforum, ham radio subforum. They're both active subforums. That somebody says, I need to put a quarter wave on the roof of my car so it fits in the garage. What quarter wave would you recommend? So there's a very closed-ended question.
Yeah.
And somebody else says, oh, you need a 9-foot whip. You need a 5/8 wave. Don't use a quarter wave. They stink. Well, you're not answering the question, and you're not contributing to the conversation. So if the person comes with an open-ended question, I'm thinking of putting a car on the roof of an antenna on the roof of my car, not a car on the roof of my antenna, so that I can fit in the garage. What would your recommendation be? Then fill your boots, people.
Yeah.
But just reduce the frustration. So if you're one of those that answers a closed-ended question with something that wasn't asked about, you could be one of them.
I
that
think
does happen a lot.
Yeah,
That happens a whole lot. Go on any group where someone like the G90 groups, which I used to be a really heavy G90 guy. I've kind of backed off the G90, but go in the G90 groups and someone will ask, hey, what battery do you guys recommend me use for my G90 portable? And then the whole thing is filled up. You should just get an FT891. You should just get an FCR. You should, like, guys, he's asking about batteries, not about what radio you like. Vince, you're spot on with that. That's really there.
What do
you know, and so ass hats are everywhere.
Yeah.
And so try not to be one. And if you don't realize you're being one, ask yourself the question, am I being one of them? Right. So, and this is Wrangler and he's not one of them. So anyway, there's my 2 cents worth on it.
As I just put in chat. Go.
I think it was either Jeff or Walt mentioned earlier. Sometimes you'll put a question in there and people
You're not a gatekeeper, are you?
They just respond with whatever they're going to respond with. It's like they don't read the question. They just I don't know who just mentioned it. Oh no, it was Walt, right? Yeah, asking about a battery for a G90. You need to get an 891.
Yeah.
whether it's an 891 or a G90, you still need a battery.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the
Yeah.
right answer is not get an 891. Sorry, John. I'm going to say this. The right answer is get an Elecraft. You know, like,
That-
you know,
that-
just kind of go to the far extreme. And an 891's a great radio. Don't get me wrong, right?
Okay.
So
that whole mentality goes throughout like everything, but it's very similar to that. I'll do a video on a certain antenna and whatever, and I'll go out and have a lot of success with it, you know, or whatever. And there's always, and it's every video that I do like that. The topic of the video, well, let's just say the Ribicoff antenna. I do a video on the Ribicoff antenna. I build it. I go out and I operate, and I'm talking to South Africa, da 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 da. And there's always in every one of them, well, I talked to South Africa with a G5RV, or I did it. Like, okay, this video is not about the G5RV. This video is about the Ribicoff antenna. I'm not comparing it to anything. If you're real proud of yourself and what you did, you know what you can do? Go start a YouTube channel and do a video and show us. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
So people can't stay like I said earlier. Like, just get out of your tunnel and look around you. Like, read the room. You know what I mean?
So I get comments like that all the time on my video, right?
Oh, we all do.
And my general response is, well, that's great. Go ahead, do a video of it, and let me know when it's posted. I'll come and critique it. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
That's generally my response to people like that. And
thanks for watching 73. See you later.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah. Engagement. Brian, you're fairly new YouTuber. How have you gotten comments like that on your videos, on anything that you put out?
So far, so good. Are you hearing me okay? I had to do a little adjustment.
Yeah, sound great.
Okay. Yeah, so far so good on my YouTube channel. Of course, I haven't put out too much controversial stuff, but I'm on Facebook. I understand the sociopaths that get on there and just try to create havoc, and you gotta filter out the noise. And I do feel sorry for the new folks that come in and they try to learn some stuff, and they all have to recognize that it's not cool for a lot of people to ask the question that's been asked 1,000 times. I get that, and we can't spoon feed people. They're learning, so they need to do that on their own. I get that, but man, there's just it's a harsh ecosystem out there in Facebook land. So, but on my YouTube, I'm doing good, and so far so good. And I will agree that if I get any negative comments, I just thank them and move on. You don't feed them the gasoline. So that's
you've got a great, like, this is the cool thing about you, ham radio YouTube, is you've got that overland effect with it. So you got a great niche. You can you're operating whatever, but you're adding on, like I do with beaches. You know what I mean? Like you do it with overlanding, and that's awesome. You know what I mean? I feel like we need more of that in the ham radio / YouTube community. So
yeah, I'm working on it. Definitely exciting to evolve the channel into more of something I feel like is going to be successful, and cool. People are going to enjoy the content.
That's awesome. So what's your overlanding? What's your dream vehicle of preference?
I think he already owns it.
Yeah, I've got a 2022 Tundra, and it's got a AluCab camper on top. And
oh, cool, yeah.
And Walt, if
it's nice,
you can zoom over the channel sometime and see it. I got it posted all over the place, yeah. But yeah, I'm there. It's still a work in progress, but yeah, I'm enjoying it, and I'm getting out there and taking those trips. And I saw you, Walt, at a Hamvention. We were together at what was that bar we were at that night?
Oh yeah,
Troll Pub.
Yeah, that's
Troll
right.
Pub. Yeah. I was at a distance. I wanted to introduce myself, but man, people were hovering over you, so I thought I'd just kick back and let you be. But nice to meet you, Walt.
Nice to meet you. And I know you're a Toyota guy, but I'm a Jeep guy. I own 2 Jeeps, but don't hold that against me. I only have one duck in the window. Okay, that's
okay.
My grandkids gave it to me.
About to get a lot more.
You should all have a Ford to do overlanding or beach stuff. It's a Ford. You need a Ford Why don't you have a Ford?
A Honda
I love my
Ridgeline.
Jeep Wrangler because in 1941 my vehicle was it won the war.
Made by Ford, by the way.
My wife still
You know
thinks I
that-
need a Jeep just to have the top off. So you never know.
Mine's a hard top. You can take it off, but it's too much of a pain. You know,
Hey.
I would love to find an old like CJ5 or something, the old Kaiser ones, and restore it. Maybe I'll do that one day. But I love my Jeep. I really do. Mine's the JK. Mine's a 2017 JK. That was the last year before they bougied the interior up with the JLs. I don't like the newer ones. I like the old ones.
Yeah, that's slick. And if I had the dream rig, it'd probably be the new Grenadier. That's pretty
Oh
slick.
yeah, that thing's awesome. I love it. I had a Land Rover for a while, and the two happiest days of my life were the days I bought it and the day I sold it. You know what I mean?
Saw one on the side of the highway just the other day.
Mine spent a lot of time on the side of the highway.
So, Andrew, any
So I'm gonna wrap this back around here for you. Pepe says he disagrees. If someone writes, I made South Africa with a G5RV antenna, that's not a negative comment. Rather, just that user wants to share their joy having made a DX contact with South Africa as well.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. You know, like I
We're
said,
talking about like when people say, "Oh, you should only have a G5 RV." It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'll preach the heck out of ham sticks because I've made contacts with it, and they're like I said, they're good. It was quick. They're quick and easy for me. The way I had them all stored, and I just pull them out, connect them, and then put them on top. They work for me, and I'm gonna start trying other antennas soon. And well, I already have, but I got a lot more to play with. But everyone has their own favorite, and that's fine to praise it, but don't force everyone on your favorite onto them.
well, I'll put it back the other way. Then let's just say I'm not going to pick on him, but you've got a YouTube channel and you've spent 5 years building it, and you put in 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and you took a day where you took your G5 RV out and you put it up, and it took you 3 or 4 hours to build it, activate, film it. You came back home, took you 7 or 8 hours to edit the video, put it up, and you put this video up, and you're talking to South Africa with your G5 RV, and like the second comment, some guy goes, "Well, you should have used a Ribikoff." It's like that. That's what I'm saying. It's that's kind of but turning it back the other way. I understand, and people get excited or whatever, but that's a lot of that. There is a whole lot of that in the comments.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with saying that your antenna worked great and you made that contact to South Africa. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But like when I said, don't push your favorite onto others. And it's your antenna. There are so many antennas out there. There's no one favorite antenna for everyone. Everyone has their own different one.
Right.
No one's going to like the same thing.
And we're all human. We're all, like I said,
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. I sometimes, like I said, when I started that whole spiel, is like I've had the hardest thing I've had to learn as my channel's grown and gotten bigger and bigger is to just keep my mouth shut and not respond. It's hard. Yep. I'm a human being. I have, whatever. I sometimes I'll see something and it'll tick me off and I'll walk away from it and I'll come back 2 hours later and read it and go like, why was I so upset about that? You know what I mean? It's just like, we're human. I'm human. I'm just being honest. You know what I mean? It's like, sometimes you're just in that frame of mind, or it could be 2 comments earlier. Somebody said something that ticked you off and then you get down to the next comment and you're like, oh my God, you know what I mean? You're just it's the way it is, that's just human nature, and I'm not exempt from it. I'm, like I said, I'm not an angel. I get that way too.
I just, one thing I do talk about, and sometimes I think I hear people comment and talk, and I think sometimes as content creators we get put on this pedestal too, that we make mistakes. We just have the luxury of editing, right? So it doesn't come across that way. So there's times where I'll leave mistakes in. And to a certain degree, this is why I like live streaming, because if I goober it up, I goober it up. And I move on. But I also enjoy the act of teaching through demonstration. And another reason why I like live streaming. So I'll go out and live stream from the park, and once again, I'll flub somebody's call sign up. I will not hear something, and that's okay. And so that's another aspect of the teaching process that I enjoy. But once again, you'll get somebody that'll make a comment about it in the not so much in the live chat, but in the comments later.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you notice on the poll, no one posted or no one chose the Facebook group.
Yeah, because they're toxic.
That's not.
They're just toxic.
Yeah.
And I think Andrew is the kind of person that makes comments on other people's, like, oh, you should use other people's videos about you. Oh, you should use the G5 RV.
I do. I'll tell people when they're wrong. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. No,
You had that happen to you?
100%. I mean, going back to the YouTube thing, my biggest video that kind of like first blew up was the HOA Buster video, and how inflammatory. You're using a compromised antenna and you're talking about HOAs in the same video. Like, good Lord. So no wonder it blew up. But going back to making contacts on it, I hit Africa on my gutter. I just talked to Russia on single sideband like 2 weeks ago on my gutter.
And people get so hung up on the perfect antenna too. It's like that same video. I'm only saying this because it's fresh in my mind. Where I went through comments yesterday. The guy goes, "I built a quarter wave vertical, and the best SWR I could get on it was 1.5 to 1." And I'm like, "Dude, fire that damn thing up and go."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's like,
no, there's nothing wrong with that. And people have the idea like they're trying to get 1-to-1.
yeah.
It's nice, and if you could score that, it's awesome. Like, you did a good job of like either tuning, building, or retuning or moving around, fill in with the antenna. That's awesome. But I set up the Radiotti HF 009 like 2 weeks ago or so, and I didn't want to fiddle around with it. I hate fiddling around with antennas and tuning and moving the little thing up and down. And once I got to 1.5 to 1, I was happy.
You're good,
And
man.
if I needed any more help, I had the tuner.
ATU button, go.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, some people are hung up. They're hung up on like their
It's
perfect
not.
antenna, the perfect radio, perfect SWR, whatever.
I got to say this, and I think people come in and they listen. We've gotten into this instant gratification society, right? And it's like, I think they think amateur radio is like playing, golf isn't the right word, but if you just throw money at it, you'll be good. And that's not always the case. There is a learning curve. There is time, and you could squeeze out because somebody heard that you have to have a 1-to-1 or 1.1 to 1 to be good. And anything less than that, well, yes. But Frank, you mentioned it some time ago, about a year ago. You went out with a guy to do
I've mentioned it several times.
And he spent, I don't know how long he spent trying to get that perfect SWR so he could do his POTA activation.
That 1-to-1.
And by the time he got it, somebody else was already tying up the frequency, and he had to go back and do it again.
Not just that, Tim. I was able to set up a 100-something foot in-fed half wave, and the radial system, and the radio, and the battery power, and make 10 plus contacts in that same amount of time.
There was
set it up and sent it.
There was a chart. I want to say it was. I've seen this thing for 20 years ago, maybe. I think President or Cobra or somebody put this chart out. Who was it? Or maybe it was an antenna company, and they showed SWR from 1-to-1 all the way to like 10-to-1, and it showed the percent efficiency. I know this was, I don't know how deep the theory was to put it together, but somewhere even between 1-to-1 and then 1.1, 1.2 to like 2-to-1, it changed from like 100% at 1-to-1 to like 93% at 2-to-1. Now, if this is true, I don't know if it's true. I just remember this when I was learning in the 11 meter world in the 90s. That this, I remember seeing this chart when I was trying to tune antennas, and you think to yourself, so we all know that it's all about decibels and not watts. You know what I mean? It's how many dB you're getting to the other side or whatever. But let's just take that for instance. Let's just say that you're 2-to-1 and you're only getting I don't know. Someone's going to look this up and say I'm wrong. So 90%, like, so you're getting 90% of your signal off the antenna at 2-to-1 SWR. 90% of 100 watts is 90 watts. I want you. How many people in SSB have talked? And you watch the watt things go up and down. How many people really think there's a difference between 90 watts and 100 watts SSB when you're out portable? I can tell you right now, from the hundreds upon hundreds of times I've been out portable with power, there ain't no difference. You ain't gonna. No one in the world's gonna be able to tell that you're only pumping 90 at them instead of 100 watts. It's just impossible.
Good comment here. Thank you, Chad. 3-to-1 is a 0.5 decibel loss, about 11% of loss. So at 100 watts, you're transmitting 89 watts. You're damn right.
Yeah, there you go.
You want to do something to punch up your 100 watt sideband signal? Get ready for this. It doesn't have jack squat to do with SWR. I want you to go to heilhamradio.com, and I want you to take a look at, in the resources page, DSP settings for different radios. And I want you to trim your transmit audio band pass so that you narrow it up, because what happens is the power envelope goes up because RF got to go somewhere.
Right.
If you don't believe me, look for any of the demonstration videos that Bob Heil himself gave before he passed, showing exactly this. I've repeated the experiment. It's phenomenal. So 1.5 to 1 SWR is good.
Yeah.
A half wavelength high dipole, yeah, that works too. I've made contacts into Europe and Japan on 5 watts with an antenna strung at 7 feet, and it wasn't straight.
Yeah, Vince, I've also done the same thing. I've just recently gotten into tweaking all of my audio settings on my radio. I've never touched it before, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and I've really just been messing with a lot of that, and it's made a lot of difference in both on receive and transmit. I'm having a lot less people asking me to repeat things, and I'm just making really good contacts.
Yeah, I'm going to put that link in the chat right now.
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't.
I already did.
Yeah, and sorry, I took us off topic by talking not about SWR.
No, that was great, Vince. That's awesome. It's like what you're saying. It's just like taking a water hose when you're spraying, and you narrow the water down, and it goes farther, and there's more water being delivered. It's that theory.
That's so funny. I just used that
same
analogy. I took some friends to, funnily enough, a beach when we were on vacation to show them what radio was about, and they were kind of asking me differences between single sideband and CW and digital and stuff. I use that same exact analogy. So that's a great analogy.
Talking firefighter talk now.
There you go.
Start speaking hydraulics. I can get it.
When I get so excited, watch out. Yeah. So during COVID, when we were locked down, Bob Heil basically took any invitation to speak to a group of people to share his wealth of knowledge about amateur radio. And he came in and did these presentations. And so there are several of them with Bob going through these things. And it is a great, valuable resource. So if you stumble across,
I'll find one.
Yeah. If you stumble across any YouTube video that's got Bob Heil in it, over the last 5 years or so, and I think it's been a couple years since he's passed away now. So, watch them. They're invaluable.
What's funny? My son's
go watch any of the old Ham Nation episodes with him in it. He was valuable even in those episodes.
It's funny. My son's a musician, and he's recorded songs and recorded an album and what have you. And he came to me one day. He goes, "Dad, do you know this Bob Heil guy?" You know what I mean? So he's not just ham radio in the recording industry. Same thing. Just wealth of knowledge.
I knew of Bob Heil in the live sound long before I knew Bob Heil of the amateur radio world.
Yep.
So same thing. Yeah.
Ditto. Yeah, I remember my guitar player picking up one of the voice boxes for some song that we were playing around with and doing that. And then I looked up who that was. And there was the internet, but it wasn't like the internet that it is now.
Yeah.
But I was able to find out who created that thing. I was pretty wow. He created all this stuff for music at first.
Yeah, pretty cool.
So got the last question up there.
Yeah, I was just going to say the last poll question is up, and I've posted the link, and it's a time-coded link to the Bob Heil video, the presentation he gave to one of my clubs. And watch it from that point onwards, because I'll guarantee you there's some relevance for me giving you the timestamp that I did. And try it for yourself, too. That's the real frickin' eye-opener. Get really good at modulating consistently into a mic. Don't say something like, the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. No, get used to doing this to a microphone. And just hold that really constantly. Get it from the diaphragm, the way they teach you how to sing. So you get a consistent audio level output, and watch what your microphone does and what your power level does. You'll be blown away.
And
Absolutely
with
blown
that,
away.
I'd forgotten. I think I know who told me, but I don't want to call out the wrong person here. Don't do the whole audio. Don't do that. Do the number 4. 4.
All right.
Okay.
It's almost like
I
Clubhouse.
was wondering.
Hey,
when that was
he
gonna happen.
overmodulated.
StreamYard messed up. That was
Yeah,
weird.
you overmodulated and then
You overmodulated.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
no, don't do the audio, Dawn. No audio. It's 4. FOUR. Just 4, and that will get you much better results.
Yeah.
Your poll question is kind of interesting, because now we're talking about lowering the requirements, or should we make it easier for people to get or to become operators? No, people
Yes.
need to learn how to study. I have seen multiple people over the past 2 or 3 weeks that have tried multiple times to take the exam, the technician exam, and fail. And we go, "How did you study?" It's like, "Oh, I just did a few practice exams." That's not studying.
That's not studying.
I
That's
think-
learning. That's learning how to pass a test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should bump everything sideways. I think the general exam should be about at the level the tech is now, and we bring a very easy thing
Yeah.
in and make it easier for the even if you have to narrow down the privileges, make it easier for people to get into our. I tell you what, my wife would be a ham right now if she's terrified of taking the test. She don't want to take the test. It's like
Well,
it's overwhelming.
So let me take the counterpoint to that then, Walt, and let's have a good spirited discussion here as friends.
Yeah.
And so if your wife is terrified to take an exam, does the subject and the difficulty really matter?
Yeah, yes and no. And that's what I'm trying to say. I get what you're saying. Like, I'll be honest with you. I don't want my wife to just mail in and get a license and then jump on the 20-meter band in the middle of the band while we're all trying to operate POTA and DX, whatever. But, and I had this is, you talk about a viral video. I put this video out about 7 or 8 months ago, one of my bigger videos, when I talked about the dumpster fire of 11 meters. And I think something like 11 needs to be relicensed, and maybe give a little bit more, some different areas or whatever, and start a class of amateur, a new level of amateur radio where you just, agree not to be a jerk. You sign up and you pay and you get a license, and it's licensed, but there be rules to it. But no, yes and no. I'm not saying that make an easy one so anyone could just get on 80, 40, 20 and do whatever. But there needs to be just a little window of something, just a little piece of something for the guy that can't pass the test or can't take it, but just wants to play radio. I think 11 meters is that. I'll get beat up for this because I love 11
Hey,
meters.
I'm with you. I'll join you on 11 meters for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I just think
something for people with the boofangs and the and then also like an 11-meter thing.
Yeah.
Just
Maybe
like
a little
super
splinter of 2 meters and the whole 11-meter band, and maybe somewhere else in there. You know what I mean? Maybe it's maybe it's just like from just a little splice of somewhere else lower in the band so they can do a little, get their feet wet, do some DX or whatever.
Why not? I think it's England. Maybe, I don't know if Canada does it too. They don't necessarily lock them down as much as the frequency, but more about the power.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a sliver. Maybe we do something where there's a sliver of a few of the HF bands where text can do voice, because a lot of it was geared to CW. CW is no longer a requirement. Maybe we give techs a little sliver of those HF bands to get out and experience it, and maybe that encourages them to go further. I don't know.
I
You
just
know,
think
Jeff,
people need
Jeff,
to be-
Jeff has his words that he says when people pass a test. Here's mine. Congratulations. Welcome to Ham Radio. You now have a license to learn.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
I was just gonna say that I see a lot of people in the chat saying CB is 11 meters is HF, GMRS is UHF. Don, very good point. And I just lost my train of thought entirely. But no, but
I'll take it over easily. Don said text should have more HF privileges. Absolutely. I think the licensing bit is 100% backwards. Texts deserve 10 times more of the HF than they do UHF and super high frequencies, because you can microwave a chocolate bar, hence the microwave oven, at super high frequencies, but HF, you're not going to damage too much brain matter compared to microwave. Tech should have less
I agree with you.
microwave and more HF.
I agree with you. Case in point. Okay. About 2 weeks ago, so I'm going to Australia to operate. I've been thinking about, I can go over there under, I'm an extra, so I can go over there under an agreement and operate, no problem. I'll just be VK stroke K4OGO. I thought about, it'd be cool if I just went ahead and got my Australian license. Maybe I could get VK4OGO, whatever. I thought about it. So I went online and I found, I think it's called the RIA, the Australian licensing people. And there was a test, like we have practice tests on there. So I just went ahead and took without never reading anything. I took the foundation test and passed it. And right away, I mean, I just, in a practice test, I passed it. I did pretty well on it. And I'm not patting myself on the back here. What I'm getting a point is, and I look at our technician class, and the cool thing about the foundation license, the test that I took in Australia, it was really about operating and frequencies, whatever, and not like our technician where we're talking about. I mean, that's the problem with the technician license test now to me. There's stuff on there that even me as an extra, I'd have to go study to pass it again. Maybe, I don't know, because I don't do sats. I'm not a satellite operator. You know what I mean? It's like, all the stuff that's in there,
Right.
The question
it's too spread out. Maybe you could take the technician class and generalize it. Like if you're just going for VHF, HF voice, you take that test, you know what I mean? Whatever. And then you get your license instead of having it just spammed. And you got and that, because what we've created is a culture of answer memorizers, not people that want to learn really what they're learning to pass the test.
Well, you bring up a good point. They're asked for a wide variety of questions about a hobby of 1,000 hobbies.
Right.
And to a lot of people, 90% of that may not pertain to something that they're interested in. I think back to the basics, you should be able to understand the relationship of Ohm's law, some safety, some basics like that, some antenna theory, and some radio RF theory, and call it a day and start that as your foundation.
And the rules, I mean, okay, as a tech, I can only use this amount of wattage on this and these bands, whatever, and make it heavy on the rules, and just enough on the theory to get someone interested,
and
safe.
Yeah,
Tim,
I mean, the question poll should be up.
Tim.
RGB Radio makes a good point here. In the UK, their technician license has full access to everything, just power limited. Maybe that's something we should, as US Ham should look at. And then Jody asked Vince if he could weigh in, since he's taken both exams, which is more difficult. And Vince, your answer was?
My answer is the Canadian basic is much more difficult than the US tech, because the Canadian basic, if you pass it at 70%, gives you tech level equivalence, not quite equivalent, but think of it that way. If you pass it at 80% or better, you get general. So it's one exam that can get you effectively 2 US steps. I did a remote test for a US extra today. He was in Canada, as he has to be to write the Canadian exam. He must be on Canadian soil. And he went, wow, that's a tough test compared to the US ones. So, and I fully agree with that. Hey, Tim, we have 5 minutes remaining, Tim, just in case you didn't see those notes.
Yes.
I just want to say one thing. The exam questions always get updated. I do not know if outside sources can provide their opinions on the questions that are there. I would encourage people to look up that information if it's possible to help steer the exam questions in a certain direction if you guys were so interested in. But I agree with Tim that there should be more. I actually agree with a lot of stuff that was said about the exam. It covers a lot of information. A lot of it people will not use, like the satellite stuff. I don't think there's a great percentage of new hams that get into satellites, but there's some. But it's more of like later on down the road for some people. It should be maybe a little bit more easier, more rules. Yes, I think the rules are a big important thing about it, and then the theory, the RF theory, and antenna theory, and all that other stuff. But yeah, if it's possible, I suggest people do some research, looking up to see how the questions are submitted, and if it's possible to help provide input onto those.
Well, awesome, Jeff. Thank you for the comments. I think this has been a great discussion. And Vince did mention we got about 4 minutes till Ham Nation kicks off.
3.5.
Well,
But who's counting?
yeah, they got intros. We can be a few minutes late. But Walt, thank you for coming on tonight. This was great. I'd like to get you back in. I think we've had a great discussion. Good activity in the chat. And Jeff, I like your idea. Let's find a way to change the license program.
It's being proactive about not waiting for someone else to do it for you.
Because I mean, they redo their test questions every so often, right? So they come out with a new
every
poll.
4 years per level.
So why do they focus as much on what they do? And let's see what it takes to start getting those maybe getting those changed and coming up with a test that's a little bit more applicable to today's amateur radio hobby landscape.
Someone mentioned, and I like what they do in the UK with their foundation license. I think they're limited to 20 watts, and it just went up a year or two ago to 20 watts. I like the idea of letting the techs get on the other HF bands, maybe in the general portions, but limit them to 20 watts or
yeah, 20 watts. That was half the area.
Yeah, 1490 to 14310.
That was RGD radio, Walt, and they said we're just limited to 25 watts output power PEP, no restriction on ERP.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, in the last couple of minutes, does anybody have anything they want to share or need to share upcoming this week on our channel?
Yeah, everybody better be there Friday for Fridays with Frank. You do not want to miss it.
Friday.
It's Frank's birthday.
Yes, it's Friday's.
Frank, thanks for ruining it.
Happy birthday.
Ruining what?
Another
year circling the sun.
It was supposed to be a big surprise as to what it was.
Oh, well,
yes.
I didn't know. Well,
Friday's my birthday,
the 91
so I'm doing
people
a big...
watching won't do anything. Won't say anything.
Yeah,
I want to say one thing.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed this. This has been especially. We've really stirred the pot tonight. I like it. It was wonderful.
We've stirred the pot with solutions. We didn't
There you
just
go.
come and complain. We're bringing some solutions on how we can change things.
Yep.
Yep. And July 1st is the new tech questions, Chad. Thank you for
Yep.
posting that. Sorry, Nightbot dinged you because you put it in all caps.
Oh, geez, Mike,
Kevin-
really?
Kevin says my son was born.
Well,
on
happy
June
birthday to your kid.
So,
Happy Juneteenth.
All right, we have
Sorry.
45 seconds.
And Mike, thank you for the clarity that Frank is not your son. We knew that.
well, I don't know. I wasn't really sure. I was still.
Well,
questioning.
Tim, back to you to wrap it up, man.
All right. Well, guys, once again, thank you very much. I think this was a great discussion tonight. And Walt, I'd love to get you back in
Definitely.
a couple times this summer to talk about some things and definitely get back out to encourage people on just getting out there, having fun, not worrying about or listening to the complainers. This is your hobby. Go enjoy it. Go have fun at it. If you have questions, ask, right? Ask, but sometimes
Smartly.
smartly do a little
Ask
research.
smartly.
do a little research, get your question together. Because if you come in with a blank question or a very wide question, they're gonna start. Hopefully, if they're doing a good job mentoring you, they're gonna help you narrow that down to find that. So it looks like we just hit 1 hour, and it is time for us to get out of here. Everybody have a great evening, and there'll be some great programming on the rest of this week for amateur radio. Go check out Ham Nation. Let them know that the Kids Table sent you, and we will see everybody next Wednesday. 73.